The racing action started with the street stock race. Off the start, Josh Wilson and Will Smith led the field. Then the 38 of Brian Hutchinson worked his way to the second place spot. Meanwhile, David Wood tried to get around him but drove too hard, and around he went, bringing out the first caution. We went back green flag racing with Josh Wilson and Brian Hutchinson on the front row. Then the 31 of Dwayne Westenberg worked his way to the second place spot. Then we had another caution come out when the number 2 of Michael Joyner went into the wall. We went back green flag racing, and this time it was Dwayne Westenberg who had firm control of the lead. Also working his way through the field was the number 6 of Charles Davis. Eventually he caught the 31 of Dwayne Westenberg, which led to one of the most action-packed nights of the entire show. Right here, Charles Davis is going everywhere, high side, low side, to try to get around Dwayne Westenberg. Then off turn number 4, they battle side by side for the lead, and Dwayne Westenberg is giving it all that he's got. Charles Davis is still there, and then going into turn 1, Charles Davis flat tracks it up the racetrack. Dwayne Westenberg is still hanging on. They battle side by side. Dwayne Westenberg refuses to give the lead to Charles Davis. Going off turn number 4, Charles Davis has a little bit of an advantage over Dwayne Westenberg, but as they cross the start-finish line and head to turn 1, Charles Davis takes the lead. And right on the last lap, Will Smith and Brian Hutchinson got together, but at the end of the day, Charles Davis took home the checkered flag with Dwayne Westenberg second and David Wood finishing in third. The next race after that was the truck race. Off the start, it would be Bobby Knox Jr. leading off the field, and it wouldn't be too long before we got to the first caution as Mark Knox lost control off turn number 4, tried to hang on, but around he went, bringing out the first caution. We went back green flag racing with Bobby Knox Jr. and Buddy Welch side by side for the lead. Bobby Knox Jr. would eventually get the advantage, and also moving his way through the field was the number 40 of Brian Weimer. And then eventually he passed the 50 of Bobby Knox Jr., as did Buddy Welch in the 87. But then Bobby Knox Jr.'s day was done when his motor blew up. Tough break for Bobby Knox Jr. We went back green flag racing with Brian Weimer and Buddy Welch leading off the field. Then the number 6 of Okie Mason worked his way to the second place spot, but he would fall back behind and then got passed by the number 1 of Howard Langham. As the racing action went on, we got to the next caution when the number 88 of Tim Ramsey ended up going up in smoke. And on the restart, it would be the number 40 of Brian Weimer leading off the field. Okie Mason and the number 6 would battle the 87 of Buddy Welch for the second place spot. He was doing everything he could to hold on to the second place spot, but Buddy Welch was able to get the second place spot back. Then the number 30 of Mark Knox ended up spinning out again, causing the next caution. On the restart, Mark Knox was definitely involved in some great racing, including the number 6 of Okie Mason and the number 87 of Buddy Welch. Meanwhile, Brian Weimer was starting to pull away from the field, but when he caught the 30 of Mark Knox, he got a little loose on the high side, and that opened up the advantage for the number 1 of Howard Langham to catch up to him, and this proved to be the most absolute fantastic final 2 laps of any race we had ever seen at Montgomery Motorspeedway. Howard Langham gets to the inside of Brian Weimer for the lead. Watch what happens as they go into turn number 3. He gives a little tap to him. They go up the racetrack, and Howard Langham is able to take the lead with 2 laps to go. But Brian Weimer isn't done yet, and on the last lap, in the last corner, Brian Weimer goes to the inside, he gives it all he's got, and he's able to beat Howard Langham to the line and win the race, with Buddy Welch finishing in third. The final race of the night would be the late model Sportsman race. Off the start, it would be Roger Roos leading off the field with the 51 of Perry Bettino going into second place. He battled the 18 of Joe Bethay Jr. Eventually, Joe got underneath Perry, gave him a little nudge, and he was able to get the second place spot. Then we had a caution come out. On the restart, Roger Roos had the lead, but then Perry Bettino battled side by side with Joe again. but then something happened on his car and he started to fall back a few spots. And then a few laps later, Perry Patino's car ended up coming to a complete stop, and that would bring out the next caution of the race. We went back green flag racing, and it would be Roger Roos battling side by side with Joe Bethea Jr. Then the 89 of Dave Mader worked his way into the mix after moving up through the field. Then right in front of the leaders, Justin Caton goes up in smoke, riding on board with Dave Mader, and he almost crashes right in front of the leaders, and around goes the number 7 of Justin Caton, bringing out the next caution. We went back green flag racing with both Dave Mader and Roger Roos on the front row, and Dave Mader is able to get the lead from Roger Roos. Meanwhile, the number 1B of Bobby East is able to move past Joe Bethea Jr. for the third place spot, but at the end of the day, Dave Mader takes home the checkered flag, second place Roger Roos, and third place Bobby East, capping off an unbelievable night of action at Montgomery Motorspeedway.
Still feel the same, 'cause she